is larger. Now, if I were to draw, and you won't need to draw every time, but if I were to draw this, I'm going to shade 1/2 and shade 1/4, which one's larger? And so the numbers are a little bit misleading, aren't they? Because 2 is less than 4. But this is a bigger piece of pizza. Okay? So the way you can figure this out is, if your numerators, eyes up here, if your numerators are the same, pick the smallest denominator. Okay? So if they both have a 1, you pick the smallest denominator as the largest piece of pizza.
Yep, pizza.
Okay? So go through, there are 2 of these that are equal. All right? I'm going to pause it while you work on them. All right, let's go ahead. I'll have tables answer. So table 1, which one of these is larger?
1.
Very good. Okay. Table 2, what about over here? Which one's larger? Yep. Okay. What about this one? Okay. Table 4, it's your turn. Which one's larger here? Very good. Okay. Table 5? Okay. Or did I say 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So table 5.
2/3.
Good. Table 1 again.
3.
Yep. And what about this one, table 2? It is. 2/3 is equal to 6/9. Okay, so that's a little review. That's actually 4th grade review, okay?
Yeah.
So let's move on and let's do, this is a 5th grade review. I know, you like number bonds, don't you?
No.
Okay, so if I were to decompose 2/3, it'd be 1/3 plus 1/3. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 2 ways to write that. You can write it as repeated addition, or you can write it as multiplication. So repeated addition is just what we have in the number bond, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about multiplication?
1/3 times 2.
Or 2 times 1/3. Either way. Okay. And I think of this as 2 copies of 1/3. All right. So did you finish that one, Micah?
Yes, I'm still.
Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to complete the rest of these. And then we'll check it together. Sound good? All right. All right, let's take a look at the answers. Make sure you did those correctly. Shh. Remember, I'm recording. That is a 5th grade standard, because I remember when we did this at the beginning of our fraction module in module 3. Okay, so let's look at the next one. This is totally 5th grade. We're going to find equivalent fractions. Okay, so in this one, whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. Remember? Okay, and most of the time we're making a larger fraction, so we're just multiplying. So 2 times what equals 4? And so 1 times 2 equals 2. And you don't have to write those numbers in there. I'm just doing that as a visual for you, so you can see my thinking. So 2 times what equals 6?
3.
So 1 times 3 equals 3. Okay, finish these and then we'll check them together. All right, so take a look at those. See if I made any mistakes, because I went pretty fast. And if you aren't done, there's no reason to copy mine, because it's not going to require any thinking.
Easy. That was easy.
Yeah. So just do them on your own. Shh. If you can do that, then you're definitely ready for 6th grade. Okay? All right. So the next part of this, we're actually going to use the whiteboard. And then when we're done on the whiteboard, I'm going to take a picture of it and show it up here. And then we'll recreate whatever I draw on the whiteboard. Sound good? Okay, so I'm going to pause it for a few. Okay, so here's the line plot we made with our sticky notes. And the first thing we need to do is, we're going to recreate this, but like Josiah said, we're going to use X's instead of sticky notes, okay? And the reason we use X's is because it's an easier way to organize the information, all right? So the first thing we need to decide on this line plot is what is the smallest whole number we need to write on our line?
2.
A 2. And you need a ruler, don't you? Okay, so the smallest whole number I need on this line plot is what?
2.
And what did we decide the largest was?
9.
9. Okay. Now between each of those numbers, you're going to need 7 spaces. So just do your best to make 7 spaces. I think that's going to be 6 tick marks. And then go ahead and add your whole numbers. Okay, so 6 tick marks. Double check to make sure you have 6 tick marks between the 2 and the 9. And then what else do I need on here, boys and girls? The halves. Okay, so go ahead and make your line plot. It's really just like a number line with halves on it. Now this next step I'm going to give you is probably one of the most important. It's how you know you used all of your, these are called data points. Each sticky note represents a data point, okay? So before I start making X's, I need to count how many sticky notes I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did I count those right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and write 17 down on your paper. Okay, now the next step, you just simply write an X where there's a sticky note. Now you're going to want your X's to be relatively the same size as each other. You don't want a tiny one and then a big one. Okay? And you also want them about the same distance away from the number line. Do you see how this 3 is kind of sticking up a little bit? So I would move it down a little bit. Then I'm going to go back and count.
I need to try to catch up.
Okay, I'll pause it while you finish it. Okay, so let's double check to make sure I have 17. Yep, that's 17, okay? Now that's how to make a line plot or create a line plot, okay? And I like the sticky note way because it's easy to move them around. Now we're going to go through and we're going to answer some questions that you might see about a line plot, okay? And this one I think I copied off the homework page, so I'm going to have to go way down to the homework page right here. Okay, so this is the next part of the lesson. And then when we're all finished for the exit ticket, all you have to do is make your own line plot, okay? So this, I think this number line's a little bit too small, okay? So we're going to make a longer number line at the bottom of the page. So before we get started on this, let's go to the bottom of the page. And we're going to, now be careful. You want to leave room to write your numbers below the number line, so move it up just a little bit, okay? Now, I know you're going to be jealous of me. I know. Although mine's not the right color, is it? Okay. So once you have a number line, then we're going to decide what numbers we need to write on it. And I've noticed over the years that you're going to have to know your eighths to be able to get these questions right when it comes to assessments time. So that's why I picked this one, because I want to practice putting the eighths on the number line, Okay? All right, so study these numbers on the chart. It says that a meteorologist set up rain gauges at various locations around a city and recorded the rainfall amounts in the table below. Use the data in the table to create a line plot using 1/8 inches. Now, this would be, like if this were Hugoton, this might be the elementary school. This might be McDonald's. This might be the football field or the library, okay? And they measured 10 different places inside the city, okay? What's the smallest number you see on that chart?
1/8.
1/8. So the smallest whole number I would need,
Is 1. 1. 0. 0.
you're right, 1/8 is less than 1 whole, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, so I need 0 as my smallest whole number, okay? And then what's the largest number you see? I think it's right here, isn't it? 1 1/4? Is that the largest number on your chart?
No, 2.
Or is it 2?
No. It needs.
Oh, gotcha. So Quentin is saying the largest whole number needs to be a 2, and he's right. Okay, so halfway between that, put a 1. And then I'm going to remind you how to make 8s. Okay? Now, the way you make 8s, and you don't need your ruler for this, you're going to find the half. And so it's halfway between 0 and 1. And then divide the half in half. And then do you remember you can divide the fourth in half and get 8s? Okay? And I want you to go ahead and mark 1/2. And if you count over, it's going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 8s would be 1/2. You following me? Then let's do that on the other side. And when you mark 1/2, maybe just write it right then. Okay, and then divide your halves in half and divide your fourths in half. And once you get all your tick marks done, then we're going to start putting some other numbers on there. So the next thing I want to do, I'm not going to write every single fraction down here, okay? But I did forget something here. Does anybody know what I forgot?
The 1 1/2.
The 1. It should be 1 1/2. And I just wrote a half. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and mark the 1/4 and the 3/4. And so that's just going to be, watch, this is 1/8. And the second one will be 1/4, okay? 1 whole, this would be 7/8, and then 3/4. So you can see how I'm skipping a tick mark.
What?
So if you take a look at mine, I've got some tick marks that I have not labeled. And that's because it's just going to get too jumbled up if I do that. But I want to talk about what they are, okay? So some of you already have an idea, okay? So what would this tick mark be, boys?
1/8.
1/8, okay? And then what would this one be?
3 8s.
Because it would go 1/8, 2 8s, 3 8s, 4 8s. What's this one? 5 8s, 6 8s,
7 8s.
okay?
8.
So I notice the 8s are counting with odd numbers. Watch. 1, 3, 5, 7. Cool, huh? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the chart and we're going to put the X's on the line plot. So I've got 1/8 is my first one. I'm going to cross off and put 1/8. Put an X at 1/8. I think the second one is what?
2. 3 8.
3 8. So I'm going to put an X at 3 8. And then we have 3/4. So put an X at 3/4. Oh, there's another 3/4, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, so far I've done how many?
4.
4. I'm going to cross off 4.
Wait, what?
Okay, so you just go ahead and put the X's where I have them. The next one is 1/4.
Right there.
Yep. And then 1 1/4. Good thing I labeled that one. So I've done 5 and 6. Number 7 is 1/8 again.
Fourth.
Another 1/4. Oh, 1 whole. And so when I'm all done, how many X's should I have on there? 10. I should have 10 X's. Just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that's how you would make a line plot with 8s. Now, here's the deal. Most of the time, they ask you to find 1/8 or 3/8 or 5/8. I've noticed that on the questions, okay? Just observing. Now, we're going to go through and answer questions. Which location had the most rainfall? I know it was 6, wasn't it? So I'm just going to write, instead of writing the number 6, I'm going to write location 6. Okay?
Wait, can we put a low L?
Yeah, I don't care.
LOCAT.
Which location received the least rainfall? And I think there might be a 3-way tie.
10, 7, and 1.
10, 7, and 1. Okay? So, and yes, Max, you can put LOC, but that might mean crazy. Loco. 1, 7, and 10. And what was that amount?
1/8.
1/8. Okay? Now, this is a new word here. So I'm going to put a box around it.
Frequent.
Frequent. Or you might see the word frequency.
Or more than once.
Okay? So, Caleb's right. It means more than once. Okay? So the question says, which rainfall measurement is most frequent?
1/8.
That means which one has the most X's above it? 1/8. So what they want kids to do is they want them to see the word most and not read the rest of it and then pick the highest rainfall.
Hold on.
I think I'm just going to make that be inch. What do you think?
Something is really weird on mine.
So if I'm going to find the total rainfall, what am I going to have to do to all these measurements? And I'm only going to add the ones that have the X's. So what would I have here?
3/8.
Okay, everybody write down 3/8. We'll write all this down and then we'll see if there's anything we can add in our heads. Okay? And then what would I write down here? 2/4? Should I write a half instead? Yeah. Okay. Whoops. Elijah, you with me? Okay. And then what would I write for this one?
3/8.
3/8 again? That's okay, because we can add these up. And then what do I have next?
3/4.
3/4 plus 3/4. 6/4, which is
1 and 1/2.
1 1/2. Or 1 2/4, right? So I made it all the way to here. Now I've got a 1 and a 1 1/4. Now what could I add in my head?
The holes.
Okay. So if I add the wholes, I've got 1, 2, 3. Then can I add the halves? Okay, so that would give me 4. And that got rid of this. So I've got 6/8 plus 1/4. Now, I noticed something about 6/8.
So 1 1/2.
I don't know. Can I simplify it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so instead of 6/8,
6 3.
it's 3/4. Because if you divide both by 2, it's 3/4. So what do we have here? What?
It's 5.
5 inches.
5 inches.
5 inches.
What do you think?
Okay.
You've got your equal sign before the 4.
Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look at the exit ticket. All right? And you won't have time to do this today, but I want to go ahead and talk about it while we have 3 minutes left. Sound good?
Yeah.
You may cross off number 2. When you make your line plot, make sure you leave enough room below it to write your whole numbers. Okay. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 11 numbers. So I want to jot that down somewhere. Okay. Now when I make this line plot, I only have to show halves and fourths. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what is the smallest number you see on this line plot?
1 1/2.
So the smallest whole number
Is 1.
is 1. And what is the largest number you see?
4.
4?
No, 3.
3 and 3/4? I know what you mean. I need a 4 this
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I'm going to have to put a 2 and a 3 on there. And I'm going to show fourths. I'll help you.
So can I write the number line on number 2?
You can.
Like if I just
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the next step would be to show the halves, right?
Yep.
So this would be 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2. You with me? And then I'm going to put a tiny little tick mark for the fourths. Now it's totally up to you if you want to write those in. You know, it's always going to be 1/4 and 3/4. But it's totally up to you if you want to write them in. Because this would be 1 1/4 and 1 3/4, and that's going to be a lot of writing. So I'm fine with you leaving them blank. I'm totally fine with it. Okay? As long as you get your X's in the right place. And how many X's are you going to need to make?
11.
11 X's. All right. Good job today.